on Georgia Public TV. Now, while we were showing you all of the reasons to pledge, you were obviously paying attention because no phones were ringing. These 25 operators from Hayes Microcomputer Products have given up a Sunday night, the last night that you have an opportunity to pledge around this kind of programming. It's exemplified by All Creatures Great and Small in a dramatic sense, and every single week there's something from the natural environment for you to learn about on Georgia Public TV. Please call those numbers, 656-4788, 1-800-222-4788 if you're anywhere else except the metro Atlanta area. And we know we have viewers all over the state of Georgia because we do serve 96% of the state throughout our 9 stations. Well over 2 million viewers a week watch Georgia Public TV, and a substantial number of those people give us a call or send us letters saying, we really like this programming. Now's the opportunity for you to say, I like this programming so much that I want to see it continue, and here is my financial commitment. It is really an investment, a partnership in television. It's television that we can bring to you, and we can be responsive to the kind of programming that you want. Programming that will be there for a long, long time, particularly if you make that phone call. Jonathan?
Thank you, Carolyn. Now, we are going to be going into Gala of Stars in just a few moments, but I want to remind you right now, this is the final evening of Festival 85. This is the 17th night. If you've been waiting, procrastinating, holding off until that last moment, now there's no excuse. This is it. We will not be here tomorrow. We will not be back until August, as a matter of fact, to give you the opportunity to support great nature programming. So take advantage of that right now. And it is so simple. In fact, we have what we call the 1, 2, 3 of giving. First of all, you go to your phone. Pick up your phone. 2, dial our numbers, 1-800-222-4788 or 656-4788 if you're in the Atlanta area. 3, then sit back and enjoy the programs that we send to you. When you make your pledge of $30, $60, $120, or $240, you can use your MasterCard, your Visa, your American Express. You can also help in a really big way. Become a monthly member of Georgia Public Television at $5 or $10 or $20 per month. It's all that simple. We have our volunteer operators from Hayes Microcomputer Products. They're anxious to speak to you. They're lovers of public television. They want to speak to other people that enjoy the quality programming that you only see on Georgia Public TV. So now is the time. The rest of the year will be that much more enjoyable to you, all of the great programming, if you go to your phone and get involved now. So let's hear those pledges. Final nights. Go for it now. George?
Okay, Jonathan, I don't think I've ever done a break coming out of All Creatures Great and Small where the operators were sitting and watching. Now, let me tell you, coming out of All Creatures Great and Small, most of you have asked about us, the special where they come back from the war. We do have the special. It will be later in the year before we can run it, but next time we bring you the whole rotation of All Creatures Great and Small, it will be complete. So that's what we do for you. That's what we do with the dollars that you give us. And we ask you to make that pledge of support now to Georgia Public Television at 656-4788 or at 1-800-222-4788 if you're outside of the Atlanta metro area. And if you call now, I regret to tell you, you won't get a busy signal. You won't get a recording. There are operators from Hayes Microcomputer Products waiting to take your pledge. It's very unusual for a Saturday night. Now, coming up on Gala of Stars, of course, we have the argument, is it Gala or a Gala? But whichever way you pronounce it, coming up on Gala of Stars, this is the 6th annual Gala of Stars with Beverly Sills as the hostess. And it comes to you tonight from the Brooklyn Academy of Music. James Levine conducts the orchestra. We've got a premiere event occurring. We've got ballet, we've got opera, we've got the best of the performing arts for you coming up. And I think that is absolutely the hallmark of public television, is the performing arts. You don't see that on the commercial networks. You don't see that on most of the cable networks. You see that on Georgia Public Television. So call now and pledge $5 a month or $10 a month or even $20 a month, and one of the operators from Hayes Microcomputer Products will take your pledge tonight at 656-4788 or 1-800-222-4788. Carolyn?
George, you know, whether you do pronounce it Gala or Gala, there's only one way to pronounce Georgia Public Television, and that's quality programming. Quality programming that you yourselves have programmed, because George can be responsive to your wants, your desires, and your needs about programming. Programming that now we're asking you to help support with a financial commitment. A commitment of $60 a year or $120 a year, $15 a year if you're a senior citizen or student. We know that you're out there watching. Won't you please consider while you're watching Gala of Stars tonight what it's worth to you to see this kind of great performances programming. Every single night or every single week of the year there's some quality drama or music performance for you on Georgia Public TV. If you had to spend money going to those cities or buying those tickets, you know you'd spend more than $60 a year. So right now we're going to go to the Brooklyn Academy of Music. It's the oldest performing music arts company or house in the United States. Again, as George said, for a half dozen years, Beverly and James Levine have been there. Here they are for you. The traditional end to Festival 85 here on Georgia Public TV, Gala of Stars, this year from the Brooklyn Academy of Music. Still to come, Curie, Takanawa, and Cleo Lane. Now, you talk about variety. There it is for you in one program on Georgia Public Television. And that's what you see every single day. But if it's performance and fine arts performances that you like, now is indeed the time to make your financial commitment as well as your viewing commitment to Georgia Public TV. This is the last night of Festival 85, a night that we all look forward to because of the marvelous programming, and a night that our volunteer phone operators generally are extremely busy. Right now, 2 phones have rung. 1 is now ringing. There's 2. We need to hear from a lot more people in order to know that this is the kind of programming you like. 656-4788 is the number to call if you're in Metro Atlanta. If you're anywhere else in the state of Georgia, if you happen to be in Tallahassee or Hilton Head, or if you're in eastern Alabama or some parts of North Carolina, give us a call at our toll-free number, 1-800-222-4788. Because we do have a very large signal, and that very large signal means a very large price tag for programming. Programming is expensive here at Georgia Public Television. It's not something we get free. It's something we have to pay for. We're asking you to help us pay for that programming because, after all, it is programming that we send to you. It is our one and only product. We want it to be high quality, and we think we're doing a pretty good job. We'd like you to do the same. Jonathan?
Carolyn, you know, the Gala of Stars really is a microcosm of all of the fine arts programming that you find throughout the entire year on Georgia Public Television. We take it all, we take some of those stars that you see all year long on GPTV, put them all together in the magnificent Gala of Stars so that you can see whichever star that you like, whichever one you think is your favorite, and have that as the incentive to call in to support fine arts programming in general. It is this one time, this final night of Festival 85, as we're on our way to our goal, that you have the opportunity to push us over the top. So go for it. Right now, 656-4788 or 1-800-222-GPTV. This is when you make your statement that fine arts programming is your thing. Our programming manager, George Warren, looks at the response that we get during these breaks, and if he sees a tremendous response for fine arts programming, then he will go out and look for more of that kind of programming. So call us now. And we have an extra special incentive. If you call and make a pledge of $120 or more, Hayes Microcomputer Products will match that pledge. So in effect, you can double your money thanks to the generous folks at Hayes who are also answering the phone now. So go to your phone, give us a call, and remember, double your dollars thanks to Hayes Microcomputer Products. George?
Well, you said it was a microcosm, that fine arts is a microcosm. Gala is a microcosm of the fine arts we carry. And I think fine arts is absolutely the hallmark of public television. It's what we've built our reputation on over the years. We've brought it to you when no one else would. We bring you American Playhouse, cost us $48,000 a year. We bring you Evening at Pops, which cost us $12,000 a year. We bring you great performances, which cost us $21,000 a year, which brings you many varied programs, including the City Opera Company, live from Lincoln Center, live from the Met, the Shakespeare plays, and many, many others, which you know you get nowhere but on public television and on Georgia Public Television. Now, we've got Jeannie sitting here. There are several others sitting here. Make that pledge now at 656-4788 or 1-800-222-4788, because if you call right now, you're not going to get a busy signal. You're not going to get a recording. You can make that pledge of, let's say, $10 a month, which Hayes Microcomputer Products will match. It's very simple. Now, let's take a look at some of the music and fine arts programming we've had for you.
At the fiscal year, which will begin this July 1, you could see that our budget will be $8.2 million. The state will provide about $5.2 million, a little bit from the federal government, but almost $3 million It has to come from the corporate community or from the private support of our viewers. So that's why we are asking you at this time, as we do 3 times during the year, to become a partner of Georgia Public Television. Show your support. Let us know how much you appreciate it. Jonathan?
Thank you, Doc. We are going to be returning to Gala of Stars, Cleo Lane, Placido Domingo, all coming up in just a few minutes. But remember, right now, this evening, the last night until August, we are giving you the opportunity to support the programs. Remember, the beauty of public television is the fact that you have a choice. You're not mandated to pay for the TV that you enjoy. The plug is not pulled from your TV set if you're not paying your bills. It is, in essence, pay TV on the honor system, or if you will, TV worth watching is TV worth paying for. And don't forget, the nice thing is that when you do make your pledge of $60, $120, $240, it's all tax deductible. Now, it's, of course, one of the opportunities that you get when you get involved with a public service such as Georgia Public Television. So take advantage of the tax deduction. Take advantage of the fact that you'll have your dollars doubled if you make a pledge of $120 or more by the great folks at Hayes Microcomputer Products, who have volunteered their time this evening and who are challenging you to make generous pledges of $120 or more. So let's go. Let's get those phones ringing. Remember, we will not be here tomorrow night, next Sunday night, until August. So this is it, folks. If you've been waiting all of this time, you've been watching us for 2 weeks saying, my goodness, I hope that they get over with this soon enough. Well, this will be it. We will be finished after this evening, and it's going to depend on you to make it a real stellar finish. So go ahead, get involved, become a part of all of the excitement here at Georgia Public Television. What you just heard was that sound. That indicates somebody who is taking advantage of that Hayes match. And there's another one. So let's go. Let's go with that Hayes Microcomputer Company match. Make your pledge of $120 or more. Don't forget, of course, you receive the Fine Tuning magazine for any pledge of $30 or more, and every little bit counts. So go to your phone, give us a call right now, and let us know that public television is important to you, especially the great fine arts programming. Carolyn?
Jonathan, every bit does indeed count, little, big, and anything in between, because even a $15 senior citizen or student pledge is very important to us at Georgia Public Television. You have made the opportunity good. You have called and said, here's my contribution because I really like this kind of show. The $120 pledge that will be matched by Hayes Microcomputer Products is extremely generous, but any amount in between is going to turn right around to George's budget so that he can go out and seek the best kind of programming for you. And boy, if it's fine arts programming that you like, you know that you see great performances every week. You know that Masterpiece Theater probably makes your Sunday night. For a large part of the year, there's American Playhouse, and at special times, there's Live from the Met, and of course, Live from Lincoln Center. They're all marvelous shows, and you will see a stellar cast on every single one of those productions. Productions that are very expensive. Now, interestingly enough, many times the performers in those programs do their part for public television by either working at scale or donating their services. And tonight's hostess, Beverly Sills, once said, you know, public television can only be as great as its audience. An audience that wants that kind of programming is going to fess up and pay for that kind of programming because they indeed do deserve the best. George?
Carolyn, I was looking over your shoulder, and I see we're looking for 120 pledges, and we're almost 3/4 of the way, but we're a little over 3/4 of the way through the break, so we need to hear from you now. Call us at 656-4788 or 1-800-222-4788 and make the pledge. There are operators available right now to accept your pledge, and you will not have to wait, and it only takes 45 seconds. So if you make your pledge now, then you will not have to miss any of Gala of Stars tonight. And one of the easiest ways in the world to make your pledge is to put it on that credit card. If you have the Visa, the MasterCard, or the American Express, then just take the card with you to the telephone and say, I'd like to make that pledge on my credit card. Here's the name on the card, the number and the expiration date, and the dollar amount you want to make. And let us suggest that you make it for $120 or more. Then Hayes Microcomputer Products will match it, and that'll be $240 to us. And you can't beat that. Now, we heard from Frances Gartside in Savannah. She wants to see more train shows. Well, we do have, coming back in May, the National Geo. Love those trains. We've heard from Augusta for $10 a month. We've heard from Milledgeville for $30. We've heard from Loganville for $60, and we've heard from Tallahassee, Florida for $60. Now, we need to hear from you because it is only through your support that we get better and better. We're not threatening to take anything away from you. Only what we're promising you tonight is to get better and better and better for you. And here are some of your neighbors to tell you why they like Georgia Public Television.
I really enjoy watching Live from Lincoln Center on WJSP TV.
Here in Waycross, we enjoy watching Good Neighbors on WXGA.
Up here in Athens, my kids love watching Sesame Street on Georgia Public Television.
Here in Columbus, I love to look at Masterpiece Theater on Georgia Public Television.
I enjoy watching great performances on Georgia Public Television here in Albany.
I want to remind everybody that not only do you have the direct match from the Hayes Microcomputer Products Company, but there are a variety of corporations around the Atlanta and Georgia area that will match the pledges of their employees. So if you work for one of those companies, and what we'll do is when you make your pledge, we'll enclose the information about matching gift companies in the along with the pledge information. You can just refer to that and then talk to your personnel department and they'll arrange for the match. So you can double your dollars, and in fact with Hayes matching, you can in fact triple your dollars with making that sort of commitment. Now, in fact, that's a nice transition into a couple of challenges we have. We have A.H. Williamson Jr. of AT&T and Bell Labs, who makes a family pledge of $60 or more and challenges all other AT&T and Bell Labs employees, and they are a matching gift company. $20 challenge for anybody at Hancock Central High to match from Ricky Mathis. Thank you, Ricky. Steve Schuler, who sings the anthem for the Braves games, wishes to make a challenge to all Braves and Hawks fans to match his pledge of $150. And Betty Starness makes a pledge of $120 and matches and challenges all daycare centers in the Decatur area. So come on, go to your phone. You have the challenge. It's been set before you. The real challenge is to pay for public television. So go to your phone and give us a call now. Carolyn?
Jonathan, I don't have a challenge pledge, but it's an interesting one nonetheless. Vanessa Jenkins from Moultrie, Georgia, called us up and pledged $5. She's 10 years old this Friday. Now, if that kind of support can come from a 10-year-old for the kind of programming she likes on Georgia Public Television, then surely all of those of you out there who have been watching public television great performances for years can make that call to 656-4788. You saw Pavarotti in the first televised opera ever on public television several years ago in La Boheme. You saw Leontine Price do her farewell performance at the Met in Aida, and you're seeing an incredible array of stars tonight. Grace Bumbry, principal dancers from the American Ballet Theater. Still to come, Meryl Ashley, Kiri Takanawa, Robert Merrill, Placido Domingo, the list goes on and on. They're going to be coming up. We're going to be here. We want you to enjoy the show, but more importantly, we want you to put a commitment behind your viewing pleasure and then give us a call at 656-4788. Here's part 2, Gala of Stars.
Don't walk away from your television set now. There's still a great deal more of the spectacular Gala of Stars coming up just for you this evening, the final evening of Festival 85. Still to come, Meryl Ashley, Robert Merrill, Placido Domingo, and Cleo Lane, just to name a few of the fabulous stars that will be coming your way on the Gala of Stars. So stay tuned. Right here, we're coming to you as the final night, the last time that you're going to have the opportunity to make your statement for outstanding public affairs programming. It's so simple to do. All you have to do is dial 656-4788 or 1-800-222-4788 and make your pledge of support. And we have an extra special incentive for you tonight. The great folks up in Norcross at Hayes Microcomputer Products are going to match any pledges of $120 or more. So you can, in effect, double your dollars, which is fabulous. And what is it going for? It's going for more great fine arts programming. Gala of Stars is just the one single example of all of the great performances, really, here on Georgia Public Television. You saw it with Judy Garland on Friday night and every Friday night with great performances. Masterpiece Theater, all of the great art shows here and only here on Georgia Public TV. So let's get those phones ringing. Come on, you are our stalwart supporters. The fine arts people really represent the group that built PBS to make it what it is today. And again, we want to remind you that you can double your dollars by making a pledge of $120 or more. But really, make your pledge for 30, 60, 120, of course, at that level, Hayes will match it. But any dollar amount will make a difference. Of course, it's all tax deductible. And it's very simple. You can charge your pledge on your MasterCard, your Visa, or your American Express. Or you can become a monthly member at $5 or $10 or $15 per month. And that goes towards great programming. We are public television. We do this only 3 times a year. And this is the final evening. So if you've been waiting, get involved with us now. Go to your phone, give us a call, and help us make our break goal of 120 pledges. And let's hope there are a lot of pledges that make that sound, because that signifies a pledge that will be matched by the Hayes Microcomputer Products Company. And there's one right now. And there goes a telephone, folks. They're hard to hold when they're those big pledges. So please, give us a call now, and now we're going to go over to George.
Well, 120 pledges at $120 would do us a lot of good. Now, I'm standing here with Rick Kramer. And Rick Kramer, I'm the guy that's supposed to buy the programs, right? But I can't buy the programs. We don't have the money, and this is the guy that has.
I have to spend them.
Absolutely.
Spend the money for them, right, George?
I can try. That's simple. What do you think a season ticket to, say, the Met, the Atlanta Symphony, the Augusta Opera, the Columbus Symphony, Middle
Maybe
Georgia?
$100, $120?
At least, I would think. It would not be. It would not be a cheap proposition.
Just $10 a month here, right?
All right. If they made a $10 a month pledge, they could sit in their living room or their den or their bedroom by the fireplace and prop their feet up and I'd have to get one of these things on and really enjoy the kind of programming you're seeing tonight. Live from the Met, live from Lincoln Center, the Great Performance Series, the Shakespeare plays. That's what we can bring to you. If you'll call us now and make your pledge at 656-4788 or at 1-800-222-4788. Now, we have members of our board of directors here tonight. We have people from Hayes Microcomputer Processor who are here to match your pledge of $120 or better, and they're waiting to hear from you. So if you'll make that call now, you'll not get a busy signal, you'll not be put on hold, and it's very, very easy to do. You just call them, tell them how much you want to pledge, whether or not you want to put it on an installment plan, be billed for it one time, or put it on your credit card. Carolyn?
It's very easy to do, George, and it's very surprising that several phone operators, including Neil Scott here, are not talking to anybody, right? His hands in supplication. Please give me a call. He's at phone number 3, and it hasn't rung yet. 656-4788 or 1-800-222-4788. I'm sure Neil had something better to do tonight, but he came down to Georgia Public Television because he is with Hayes Microcomputer Products. That company is making a challenge grant. You've heard Jonathan say, double your dollars. You don't want me to sing double your pleasure, and I'd probably get sued by some commercial, but it really is true. What a painless way to give $240 to Georgia Public Television, and this is the last night that you can do it. This is the last time that you can cast your vote for quality performance programs, programming that you do see every week on Georgia Public Television, programming that you would spend an arm and a leg for if you had to travel to those cities, or even if you were fortunate enough for all of these artists to come to your particular town. And your particular town comes from Valdosta to Chatsworth, from Dalton to Savannah to Macon, Columbus, Edison, Waycross. We are all over the state of Georgia, and we've got fans and viewers all over the state. We want to have supporters all over the state, too. We want people to be able to say, my public television station listens to me. They know I like nature programming. They know I enjoy great performances, and my kids love Sesame Street. And by heaven, they went out and made sure that those programs were there. Well, you know what? We can't do it without your help, without your particular support. Now, music performance is just one thing you see here on Georgia Public Television. Drama's another, and here's just a look at some of the things that'll be coming up this year.
You've just seen examples of some of the very excellent programs brought to you by Georgia Public Television, and obviously the viewers in Georgia really appreciate it. Here are just a few examples of pledges we received tonight during Gala. Here's Kenneth Lancaster from Columbus, Georgia. George Festerman from Waycross, Georgia. Hilda Vander from Chamblee, Georgia. Fred Nort from Atlanta, Georgia. $120 pledge from Atlanta. Another $120 pledge from Marietta, Georgia. Another $120 pledge from Athens, Georgia. We get up into Athens. Another $120 pledge from Tifton, Georgia. These are terrific. And each one of those $120 pledges really translates into $240 because of the excellent challenge grant from Hayes Microcomputer Products. So come on, make your pledge now. Call 656-4788. George.
Well, you know, I was just looking at the board up there. We're looking for 120 pledges, and we're not quite halfway there, but we are over halfway through the break, so we need to hear from you now. Because if you wait, if you leave it to your neighbor to do it, it might not get done. Otherwise, if you wait, you might find yourself calling in when we go back to gala. So it's real simple. Call now, 656-4788, 1-800-222-4788, and I promise you, you will not get a busy signal. You will not get a recording. Now, Rick, we were joking earlier, I make the commitments. Now, 2 weeks ago Friday, I made the commitment to PBS. How much did I spend?
You spent about another $20,000, George. It was about 15% increase over last year.
So that's somewhere in the range of about $365,000
That's right,
we'll pay for your basic PBS programs next year. Now, we get a little bit of money from the federal government, but not nearly so much as before.
Not quite as much as we did several years ago. Back in '82, we're looking at a little over $1 million, and right now we're looking only about $550,000, which by coincidence is about what our goal is tonight.
That's a coincidence, and it's also a little less than half than we used to get from the federal government. So you can see that our increased need to hear from you from, say, 1982, when it was about 4%, to now when it's about 26%, next year it'll be about 33%, is what you've got to pick up to keep Georgia Public Television growing for you. It's something you do for yourself. We're not out here doing this for us. We've got jobs. What we're doing is trying to make it a better service for you, and it takes your participation. It takes your financial commitment now at 656-4788 or 1-800-222-4788. How are we doing, Jonathan?
George, let's check it out, see how well we are doing. We're up to 63. We're over the halfway point, so we're getting closer to 120 pledges for this break, and that is fabulous. And, of course, every time we hear that sound, that indicates a pledger is getting their pledge matched by Hayes Microcomputer Products Company in all of their generosity because they believe in public television. Now, just in the way of explanation, so that you understand why we do this. First of all, we don't air commercials. What that means is that we can program to smaller groups of people, because what makes a commercial network work is the fact that they can attract mass audiences. So, in essence, they're programming to the lowest common denominator. What public television is programming to different groups, groups that are not served, people like yourselves who enjoy the fine arts, and children. Children have perhaps the worst programming available to any group of people on commercial television. So that's why we have Sesame Street and 321 Contact and Electric Company, all of those outstanding children's programs. People that love science and nature are not served by commercial television. That's why we're here. So what does that mean? It means that we've got to turn to the people that enjoy the programs and ask you to support the programs. TV worth watching is TV worth paying for. It's really quite as simple as that. So go to your phone, 656-4788 or 1-800-222-GPTV, and make your pledge of support. Remember, it's tax deductible, and if you make a pledge of $120 or more, Hayes Microcomputer Products will match that pledge. So give us a call now. Now we're going to hear from some folks around the state who have already made their commitment to Georgia Public Television.
I made a commitment to quality television by becoming a member of Georgia Public Television.
After enjoying such excellent programming as Nova on Georgia Public Television, Bob and I decided we'd like to become a part of it.
After watching public TV for a number of years, I decided now was the time to join.
After watching and enjoying programs like Austin City Limits on Georgia Public Television for many years, I felt guilty, so I joined. Now I feel better.
There are a lot of reasons to pledge to Georgia Public TV. Yes, it is tax deductible. Yes, for $30 or more, you'll get fine tuning. Yes, Hayes Microcomputer Products will match a $120 pledge. But as you just heard from your fellow citizens, the most important reason is programming. Programming that they have watched, programming that has made them turn that dime and say, it is worth my support. It is worth my $120 pledge. And here is my phone call, because I'm going to make that financial commitment. If If you're in Metro Atlanta, please remember that that phone number is 656-4788. If you're anywhere else in the state of Georgia, 1-800-222-4788. And remember, too, that you can make that installment pledge of $5 or $10 a month, that we will accept a credit card, Visa, American Express, or MasterCard. Or you can certainly do a one-time only check. But however you choose to pledge, the important decision for us during this last night of Festival 85 is that you do join the growing number of supporters over the state who want to continue the excellence of Georgia Public Television. Without your support, it simply would not be possible to do. We aren't going to threaten to go away. That's not going to happen. But I'm sure you want to maintain the quality that you see, and you even want to improve the excellence that's there. With your phone call, that will come true. Here's Dick Ottinger with a very special guest. Dick?
Thank you, Carolyn. Public television in Georgia stands for quality, and public television in Georgia belongs to you, the viewer. And to ensure that we do the job that the viewers want, we have a board of directors. And here with me tonight is one of our most distinguished members of the board, Dr. Vernon Crawford, who not only is Chancellor of the University System, but is a member of the Board of Directors of Georgia Public Television. Dr. Crawford, why do you choose to spend time with public television and Georgia Public Television? What do you like about it?
Well, I like everything about it, Dick. I guess my favorite programs are Masterpiece Theater and the National Geographic specials. And I'm particularly partial to the English, British comedies, Fawlty Towers, Monty Python, Bless Me Father. But I think it's just a wonderful, wonderful chance to see something that you can't see anyplace else. And our regular television doesn't give it. We don't have things like this on the stage here. So we're blessed to have public television here in Atlanta.
Great. Well, you can see that you have a champion in Dr. Vernon Crawford, who's looking out for your interests, making sure that we provide you with only the very best. Jonathan?
Thank you very much. Now, we're going to be returning to Robert Merrill and Merrill Ashley and Placido Domingo and Cleo Lane all in just a few moments. Take those few minutes. Remember, this is the stretch. This is it. We're gone after this evening. And it'll mean that much more to you when you tune into Georgia Public Television to know that you did your part, that you made it possible. So become a part of this great programming here by giving us a call. Now, we want to thank some special people who have done their part for Georgia Public Television. First of all, the people that supplied food for the evening, the Catering Connection. We put it all together for you. That's what they say. And the ARA Coffee Systems, who've been with us throughout the drive, who've been fabulous. And Sunkist Orange Soda, also throughout the 17 days of this drive, Sunkist has been helping us out. And Mathis Dairy, also for the entire length of our drive. Keebler Cookies, again, another stalwart supporter who've been with us the entire time, as has Sophie May, providing the best peanut brittle around. Frito-Lay chips for tonight, thank them very much. And Kroger, who has also helped us out with in a variety of different ways. Hi-Fi Buys, who provided this gorgeous Mitsubishi large screen television. And Hayes Microcomputer Products, who made that bell ring right there because they're matching pledges of $120 or more. Many thanks to the folks at Hayes Microcomputer Products for their help and all of the other companies that have gotten involved with Georgia Public Television. We have just a few seconds left before we go to Gale of Stars, and coincidentally, it only takes 45 seconds to make a pledge of support. So remember what it will mean to you every time you tune in. It will mean more great public television programming made possible by you. Now enjoy Gale of Stars.
We'll be back to Gale of Stars in just a minute. This is the big annual event on PBS. This is the big culmination to 17 days worth of fundraising here on Georgia Public Television. And on this break, we want to hear support from 120 families and friends of Georgia Public Television who want to make a financial commitment to continue this kind of programming coming. And all you've got to do it is get up, go to your phone. You got one of these wireless things, take it out of your hip pocket, wherever you got it, and punch 656-4788 if you're in the toll-free Atlanta area. Or if you're outside the metro area, call 1-800-222-4788 and make that pledge now. And if you pledge $10 a month, which is $120 a year, you see the people from Hayes Microcomputer Processing. Is that right? What is the name of the company?
Hayes Microcomputer Products.
See, I had it almost right. You do that, and they will match your pledge up to $5,000 for the evening. So that's a very good deal for you. You put out $120, we end up with $240. Carolyn, I'm sort of reminded of the story when Placido, as he pronounced it, Domingo, did some spots for us last year, if you remember. And he did about 6 takes, and he finally got through to the end of one. He finally looked around the camera and says, "Hi, this is Robert Redford."
And he is indeed we want to say that again, Robert Redford of the Metropolitan Opera, one of the greatest tenors of this century. And if you want to argue him and Pavarotti, go ahead and do it. But he's going to be up in a later segment of Gala of Stars. And that's the caliber of performers that you see here on Georgia Public Television and its fine arts programming. Remember, too, that your commitment to Georgia Public Television not only continues fine programming, although that's the big, big benefit, it is a tax-deductible contribution. You're not going to be able to squeak it in on your 1984 taxes, but you can get a head start on 1985. And if you can make one of those $120 bells ring, you can squeak in a whole $120 on a tax-deductible contribution, and that will be doubled by the folks from Hayes Microcomputer Products. See, I said it right, George. But I messed it up last year. That kind of corporate support is invaluable, but it's really a sponsorship that is given by everyone, corporations and individuals alike, that continue the excellence of Georgia Public Television. This is the last day of Festival 85. It's the last day for a lot of public television stations across the country because there are many of them doing the same thing that we are. They're asking their communities, those particular people that are responsive viewers, to do the exact same thing, support programming so that it can continue. That's the only reason we're here. We have only one product, and that product is programming. Programming like this Gala of Stars, made especially for Georgia Public Television and the rest of the public television system every year for the past 6 as a wrap to Festival 85. Help support it. Give us a call at those phone numbers you see. Jonathan?
Carolyn, we want to remind everybody once again that indeed this is the final evening of Festival 85, and if you've been waiting for the 2 weeks and you've been a little bit reluctant to get involved, well, now is the time. This is when you can help pay for the quality public television that you see day in and day out for 365 days a year on your Georgia Public Television channel. So give us a call now. Make your pledge of 30, 60, 120, or 240. In fact, we have a very special incentive. If you make your pledge of $120 or more, the folks from Hayes Microcomputer Products will match that pledge. In fact, we have somebody from Hayes with us right now who we're going to talk to, John Hall from the marketing department. John, describe to us exactly what Hayes is doing it and why you're doing it.
Well, Jonathan, we think it's important. It's very easy for a business to take things out of a community, but we think it's important to put things back in. And at Hayes, we're committed to the Atlanta area. We're committed to public TV, and this is about the 4th time we've done this. We certainly encourage everyone out there to call in with their $120 pledge, and Hayes will gladly match that so that we can double the money and Georgia Public TV can keep the quality programming going that they've already offered us here in the Atlanta area.
That's terrific. We really thank you very much for being with us for the past 4 drives every final evening. You guys are with us, and we really enjoy having the volunteers and the challenge grant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so there you have the incentive. Give us a call right now, 1-800-222-4788 or 656-4788 if you're in the Atlanta area, and let us know that you want to see more quality programming on Georgia Public TV. Dick?
Thanks, Jonathan. You've mentioned, and several others have mentioned tonight, the terrific matching grant and the match that Hayes Microcomputer Products have offered tonight, so that every time you make a pledge, every dollar you pledge will be matched by Hayes. Now, there are 2 other ways in which your dollar can be increased in power. One is that if your company has a program to match contributions to organizations like Georgia Public Television, and specifically Georgia Public Television, many companies do this on a dollar-for-dollar basis. There's several companies in Georgia. And some of these will be shown on the screen in a few moments, but when we send you your statement, there will be a list on the back of that statement that shows about 140 companies. Now, if your company isn't listed there, go see the personnel department or management and see if they would like to become a participant in this program. Another way that the power of your dollar is increased, as we mentioned before, we get some federal dollars. Now, not nearly as much as we used to, but still in all, we want to get all that Georgia's due. Now, the way we get federal dollars depends on how much local money we raise. So the more we raise locally, the more we earn. That's one of the few federal programs that works that way. George?
Well, you know, it's real simple. The more you call in, the more we earn, and the easy to get through right now is something I can personally guarantee. The phones are not ringing. And this is just against all tradition on public broadcasting. In the past, this has been an exciting night, a real gala for us. The phones have rung off the hooks. The Hayes Microcomputer people have been here. They've loved it. And they want to hear from you tonight. They want to enjoy the excitement. They want to see us go over our goals. So call at 656-4788 right now, or at 1-800-222-4788, and they will match your pledge of $120 or more. Make that call now, because what you get in return is, just looking at the list here, there's about $65,000 worth of British comedies. Evening at Pop's about $12,000. Great performances. Next year's going to run us about $21,000. And, you know, most of the people who watch, we know statistically, the kind of programming you watch tonight on Gala, the fine performance programming, also like to watch news and public affairs. And McNeil-Lehrer has not gone up in 3 years. It's still at $66,000. Frontline at $31,000. Wall Street Week at about $4,000. So the costs go on, and they build, and they build, and they build, and they go up every year. With or without a high inflation rate, they build every year. Make a call now, 656-4788 or 1-800-222-4788, and make your financial commitment to the television you like. Right, Carolyn?
You bet. And George, you know, that phone number, that 800 number that you just gave folks, means that if you're not in the metro Atlanta area and you're anywhere else in the state of Georgia, you can call us toll-free. Now, we've got 9 stations in the Georgia Public Television Network, stations that cover 96% of the state's citizens, some 2 million of whom watch us every single week on Georgia Public TV. If there are at least 120 people out there of those 2 million who like Gala of Stars, who like fine performance programs, we'd like them to give us a call. Generally, as George said, these folks from Hayes Microcomputer Products are so tired at the end of the night that they complain that they've got tired elbows. Most of them are not even picking up phones right now. So please use those phone numbers that you see on your screen. We have heard from several people tonight, and they have come from all over the state. D.P. Eubank from Atlanta is renewing his membership to Georgia Public Television. Mr. Scott Glass from Savannah, Georgia, is a new member, as is Mr. C.E. Smoke from Hepzibah, Georgia. It is an annual contribution to Georgia Public TV that makes things grow, as do challenge grants. Mr. Arthur Smith from the Antique Store in Savannah wants people to match or better his $120 pledge to all other antique dealers. Now, whether you're matching that challenge grant or whether you're trying to figure out how much great performances like these are worth to you on Georgia Public Television, the decision is ultimately yours. It's not your neighbors, it's not your friends, it's not your kids, and it's not your relatives. Because every single pledge helps. One by one, public television can only become greater if you choose to help to support it. Jonathan?
Carolyn, you know, it really is remarkably quiet in here. We just heard a bell of somebody who's having their pledge matched. You know, this really is an unusual opportunity. It's not very often that we have a company like Hayes Microcomputer Products who comes in and challenges you to make the larger pledges so you can double your dollars. So take advantage of that. Right now, get involved with public television. You know, the music and the fine arts programming is really the flagship programming of public TV. It's really what set it apart. There were cable channels that tried to imitate it. They didn't succeed. Only public television really has consistently, over the years, brought you the outstanding music and fine arts programming through great performances, specials like Gala of Stars, Dance in America. The history has been most stellar, and so it's been because of you. Well, right now, it's remarkably quiet in here, and if you're a music and fine arts programming fan, it really is contingent on you to support your programming. We use the slogan that TV worth watching is TV worth paying for. Because we're programming to special audiences, people that love the fine arts, love nature, love good quality children's programming, that's why we're turning to you right now to support your programs. I'll give you a quick update. We're up to 87 pledges this break. We're shooting for 120 pledges. That's it. And then we're going to be going back to Gala of Stars. So just a few minutes left. Make your pledge now. Get involved. $120 or more, of course, is matched by the folks at Hayes. Dick?
Thanks, Jonathan. Here are some other Georgians who've made their commitment tonight to quality program on Georgia Public Television. Here's a $120 pledge from Lilburn, Georgia, and of course that really is worth $240 thanks to Hayes. There's another pledge from Valdosta, Georgia, and incidentally, this one wants good neighbors to come back. We'll make a note of that, George. Here's a $150 pledge from Atlanta, Georgia, another match for Hayes. It's a $30 pledge from Brunswick, Georgia. You know, we're hearing from all over Georgia tonight, George.
Okay, thank you, Dick.
But there's just one thing that bothers me. The one city in Georgia that has an opera company, Augusta, Georgia, and here we have all of this fine opera on tonight, and I haven't heard a single pledge read from Augusta.
Dr. Crawford's handing you something right in front of you there. See what that is.
Excellent. Well, good. Somebody put me down. Here is an excellent pledge from Miss Tremaine in Augusta, Georgia.
And
Super.
more good news, next month we're going to Augusta and we're taping the Augusta Opera Company for the 3rd time, and you don't get that anywhere but on Georgia Public Television. Ed Bradbury and the company down there, we've gotten along wonderfully for years. Great opportunity for us, great opportunity for them, but best opportunity for you. 120, we're at 90 out of 120. Now, I just picked this dreaded thing up. People hate it. It's called the ratings book. It tells us who's out there. And theoretically, based on our fine arts programming, there should be between 100 and 150,000 people watching Georgia Public Television right now. I mean, it's in the numbers. You know that? It's not something we make up. It's factual. And we only want to hear from 120 of you. That's not asking a great deal. All we want you to do is go to your phone, pick it up, dial 656-4788 or 1-800-222-4788 if you're not in the metro area, and make that pledge well, we're asking for $10 a month, $120, because we know that the good folks at Hayes will match that, making each one of your dollars worth $2 to us. But pick it up now, make the call to Georgia Public Television, make that financial commitment, that pledge of support. You can get through now. It takes only 45 seconds, and you can be complete with your call and your pledge and ready to go back and sit down when we resume Gala Stars in a minute, or Gala. And that bell means there's a $120 pledge. So make that pledge now. We're up to 91. We had 90 when I started talking. Look, the phones are ringing, but not nearly enough. There's a whole row of 5 operators sitting up here. They're staring at me. I'm a little paranoid about that. There's 4 of them. You can still get through. No doubt you can get through. We want to thank some nice people, too, who have taken care of the folks around here today. Delights of America fed the volunteers and the staff here in the studio tonight. The Catering Connection fed everybody on the afternoon shift today. ARA Coffee has provided coffee for us throughout this pledge period, as has Sunkist with orange soda, and Mathis Dairy has provided us milk and juice products. And finally, we want to thank Hi-Fi Buys for the use of this wonderful large screen rear projection television. It's been wonderful for us. But most of all tonight, we want to thank the Hayes folks, who are giving us a $5,000 matching pledge for every well, let me get that right so you don't misunderstand. You pledge $120, they give us $120, up to a sum total of $5,000. So that's a guaranteed $5,000 we can get. That's a guaranteed $2 for every one you pledge, if you'll make that pledge of $10 a month or $120 now at 656-4788 or 1-800-222-4788. Now back to Gala of Stars.
Cleo Lane, proof positive that the human voice is the most marvelous instrument on earth. Still to come, another one, Placido Domingo. This is your last opportunity. This is your last day to make your commitment to Georgia Public Television and commit to fine performance programming. Gala of Stars, a half-dozen years of being the traditional wrap-up show. And unfortunately, you now are not helping wrap up some tired phone operators here. They're raring to go. We haven't had a whole lot of response this evening. Now, there's one phone of 25 ringing. These folks from Hayes Microcomputer Products have come down on Sunday night. They've done it every single March we've been here. They believe in this kind of quality programming. If you do, please give us a call at 656-4788. If you're in Savannah or Waycross, Edison, Chatsworth, Dalton, Savannah, wherever you may happen to watch Georgia Public Television at any one of our 9 stations, Brunswick, the Golden Isles, Hilton Head, use that 1-800 number, 1-800-222-4788, because it is only through your telephone calls, through your financial commitment, that this kind of programming can continue. Jonathan.
Carolyn, now look around me. Look at all these wonderful volunteers from Hayes Microcomputer Products. There's one phone busy. There's a phone that's not busy. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one. Whoops, all we see is the Hayes credit because of course Hayes is, there you go, there are a lot of not so busy telephone operators from Hayes Microcomputer, and now the phones are starting to ring. That is terrific. We really have just 2 more breaks to go. This is it, and then that's it until August. Go to your phone, give us a call. Remember that very special incentive of Hayes Microcomputer Products. If you make your pledge of $120 or more, not only is it tax deductible, but you will be having your your dollars doubled by the Hayes Microcomputer Products Company because they believe in public television and they want to help you in your support of public TV. So make this the best thing you do all weekend long by getting involved with public TV, making your pledge of support. We will not be doing this again next week or the week after or again until August, nor will you have any interruptions from commercials. None of that. You know, it's easy to take that for granted, to watch great show after great show without interruption and forget the fact that somebody's got to pay for these programs. If you like fine arts programming, this is where you vote. This is where you let us know. Remember, in essence, you're our programming manager. So give us a call right now and make your pledge of support for quality fine arts programming. George?
You know, Jonathan, I was putting the May schedule together this morning. I saw some terrific things in there. Sweeney Todd, Bernstein conducts West Side Story, Shakespeare, what is it, Love's Labor Lost, I think. That's May. We got April to get to May and the rest of March to get through. And that's the hallmark of public television. That's what we do for you. We bring you live from the Met. We bring you live from Lincoln Center. We bring you City Opera Company. That's where your dollars go. We bring you great performance in the Shakespeare plays year-round. That's where your dollars go. What we're asking you to do is to do something for yourself. Now, that bell means there's a pledge of $120 or more, which we know is matched by Hayes Microcomputer Products. That makes it $240 based on that $120 pledge we just got. And it's so simple for you to do. Pick up the phone now. Call 656-4788 if you're in the Atlanta toll-free area. If you're outside the Atlanta toll-free area, if you're in Augusta, Savannah, Hayhira, Hepzibah, wherever you are, call 1-800-222-4788 and make a pledge to Georgia Public Television. Right, Dick?
You bet, George. You know, we go to the viewing public only 3 times a year to get them to become our partners in providing the finest in television and public television for Georgia. And, of course, tonight is the last night of our big Festival 85. We won't be back again until August. Now, why did we do this? If you could have seen our budget in 1982, you would have seen it was about $4.5 million. And only 4% of that money came from donor support. Now, in 1986, fiscal year 1986, just coming up, our budget is about $8.2 to $8.3 million, and about 35% of that money must come from private sources such as you, our viewers, and from the corporate community. Now, we have an interesting challenge we want to read tonight. Mr. Glenn Austin, who's a retired executive of Ritchie's, a well-thought-of executive there, has made a pledge of $120, and he challenges all the people at Ritchie's who remembers him to match that pledge. Now, this is terrific because Ritchie's is a company that matches their employees' contributions to public television. On top of that, of course, Hayes will match the $120. Jonathan?
Thank you, Dick. And I want to show you what you will hear when you meet that challenge from the Ritchie's executive. The sound is this. That sound represents a pledge of $100 or more. $120, of course, only comes out to $10 a month. And I want you to remember something. Over the past several years, there have been several major arts cable channels. They were pay cable channels. They were more expensive than just that $10 a month. And they have gone off the air. That's what happens with pay cable. They pull the plug. If you don't pay your bill, that's it. It's over. The beauty of public television is that you do have the option. We will be here. It's a choice. And what we do is ask you to make the responsible choice, to become involved. It really is a question of involvement, and a lot of people do sit back and think that things will happen without them, but that's really not the way it works with public TV. Right now we have more than 40,000 people throughout the state of Georgia, Savannah, Columbus, Augusta, Waycross, Valdosta, all over the state who believe in the quality of fine arts programming here on public television. Well, what about you? If you've not made your commitment or you haven't renewed from your pledge of last year, why don't you get on the phone, give us a call, and make this final night the greatest grand finale that Georgia Public Television has ever had. Carolyn?
You know, Jonathan, we have a slogan which you've mentioned a couple of times tonight for Festival 85. It's up here if you can zero in on it. It says, Festival 85, TV worth paying for. And I think that we often forget not only to use that slogan because the quality is always there. We forget that people have to pay for it. But indeed we do. We have to buy those programs. And if it is worth watching, isn't it worth paying for? Isn't 16 years of Sesame Street and 10 years of Masterpiece Theater and 10 years of the National Geographic, 11 years of Nova and some 17 years of Washington Week in Review worth at least $60 a year? Isn't it worth maybe $120 a year because it's there for you all the time? If that's the case, then please give us a call, 656-4788. 1-800-222-4788. The phone numbers to call to make sure that quality television exists for you here on Georgia Public TV. Whether you send that one-time check to us directly, whether you put it on a credit card or make an installment pledge, the important thing is that you have committed to help make public television grow and become excellent. We can only be as great as you are. And while we appreciate your viewing support, we know that with the financial commitment you can put behind that viewing support, we can only get much better than we already are. That's the whole reason for Festival 85. That's the whole reason for public television being. Because without being responsive to you, without being able to determine the kind of programming that you want, there wouldn't be any reason for us to be here. And believe me, we enjoy what we're doing, finding the best quality public television that we can. We hope that you appreciate that, and we hope that you'll be able to be responsive to us during this last night of Festival 85. George?
Well, I was just looking. I've just picked up a pledge here from a member of the Fine Arts Department at DeKalb College who made a pledge of $120. And I assume he's challenging everybody in every fine arts department in the state to come up with it. It doesn't say that here, but if he's not, I am. I'm sorry about that. And this is Regina Hill up here, and her husband called in a pledge, and his pledge is $50 to any used car dealer. Meet his 50 or beat it. And with the challenge that we've got from Hayes Microcomputer Products that is your employer, I assume, or at least you're wearing their T-shirt. Their challenge is that if you make a pledge of $120, they'll match your pledge of $120. Now, if you stop and think about it, $120 is $10 a month. That's not a lot of money. You stop and look at your lifestyle, you probably cannot account for that much out of your pocket on a weekly basis. By the time you look at the gum and the mints and the little bit of parking meter money and this, that, and the other, and cigarettes for those of you who indulge, and a few other things, you probably have at least that much per week you can't account for. So $10 a month is not a lot for us to ask for, because you'll get a lot in return for it. First of all, your $10 is worth $20 and then some to us. And we put it into the programming, and we've told you what we buy with it over and over, live from the Met, live from Lincoln Center, great performances, the Shakespeare plays, and so forth and so on. Right, Dick?
You bet, George. George, I want to make a special announcement tonight. This is the first time we've even mentioned this on television. I guess Georgia Public Television has a couple of new kid sisters in the state. Actually, we're the Georgia Public Telecommunications Commission, and because we're that, we have responsibilities to provide the viewers in Georgia, the people in Georgia, with all types of service in public telecommunications. And we have two brand new radio stations, two public radio stations serving Georgia, at least a good part of Georgia. One down near Columbus, Georgia, at 88.1 on your dial. The other one is over near Macon, Georgia, Cochran, Georgia. That's 89.7. We're calling this service Peach State Public Radio. So when you're driving your car or you can't watch television, be sure and listen to Peach State Public Radio. We think you'll enjoy it. It's an excellent quality program and is a good companion to Georgia Public Television. Jonathan?
Thank you, Dick. You know what's really exciting about that fact is that at some point we will be having shows like Gala of Stars that will be able to simulcast. Now again, that's where it probably comes in most handy with the fine arts programming, programs such as Gala of Stars and great performances. Those are the sorts of programs that we can simulcast and want to simulcast. But again, that is expensive. It costs an awful lot of money, and that's why we're here now. Now there's no better time to get involved than right at this moment, because not only if you work for a matching gift company will you have your pledge doubled, Hayes, if you make a pledge of over $120, will triple that pledge on top of that. And then, of course, you have our federal dollars, as Dick has described earlier, are triggered by local support. So that means in all of those ways you can make your dollars go a long way to support public television. You know, we use our money very, very effectively. Our total programming budget is about $1 million. If you take a series like The Love Boat, let's say, for example, one episode costs $500,000, a single episode. And our entire programming budget here at Georgia Public Television is just about $1 million. So we take your dollar and we use it well. So give us a call, 1-800-222-4788 or 656-4788 if you're in the Atlanta area, or if you prefer to write, you can do that as well. It's all you have to do is get out an envelope and a pen and put down the address, Georgia Public Television, P.O. Box 101848, Atlanta, Georgia 30392. One more time, Georgia Public TV, P.O. Box 101848, Atlanta, Georgia 30392. Any way you support GPTV, remember, it's an investment in your own viewing pleasure. So make that commitment right now, and now enjoy another segment of Gala of Stars.
Well, back with Placido Domingo, or as he said on the tape, Placido, and I can't imitate him, but I know you've been waiting for him. The finale to Gala of Stars, or if you listen to the announcer, Gala of Stars, you can take your pick. It's pronounced both ways on the tape, so we're confused here. We'll be along in just a minute, but before we go back, this is our last break. This is your last opportunity until August to pledge your support to Georgia Public Television, to fine arts programming, to country music programming, to Doctor Who, to science programming, fuzzy animals, whatever it is you like on Georgia Public Television. Call 656-4788, or if you're outside the Atlanta toll-free area, call 1-800-222-4788 and make a pledge of support now. And remember, if you make a pledge of $10 a month for $120 a year, it will be matched by the Hayes Microcomputer Products people. Now, let me show you something. Good news. And you're going to say, why are you doing this, George? It's real simple. Good news is we wanted from you in the 7-day period $550,000. The good news is you've already pledged $569,000. How about that? Now I'm going to ask you to do something. In December, we were $25,000 below our goal. If you will make one more $6,000 commitment to get us to $575,000, we'll be right on track on where we want to be. Let us hear from you in the amount of $6,000 on this break at 656-4788 or at 1-800-222-4788, and we'll keep the good programming coming. And we will shorten this break for you, by the way. Right, Carolyn?
We will try real quickly. I will speak quickly. You know, we may be confused about the pronunciation of gala, but we're not confused about quality programming. That is our business. We hope that we have presented a wide range of quality programming for you during festival. I think you know that we have, and it's something that you see every single day. It's something that viewers all over the state have taken the commitment to support for Georgia Public Television. People like the Girl Scout Troop 848, Mrs. Herbert Johnson from Atlanta, Charlie Pruitt from Atlanta, and Mrs. Richard Pretz, who not only made a pledge, but reminded us that the Atlanta Civic Opera Association also is an opera company, not just in Augusta, but and they have been very good supporters of Georgia Public TV. But to repeat very quickly what George said, this is your last opportunity to support whatever you like on Georgia Public TV. We hope it's the kind of programming you see tonight on Georgia Public TV. All Creatures Great and Small, the National Geographic specials this afternoon, the Gala of Stars tonight. We won't be here next week Sunday, but there will be great programming as usual. There will be nature, there will be Masterpiece Theater, there will be Bless Me Father and the Bounder, this whole range of programming that you have made possible because you have been so very generous. Now, Dick, can you move just as... Okay, we're at about $350 of that $5,000 we need to keep us on track. Keep calling. Jonathan?
Carolyn, yeah, we're on our way to making that $6,000 goal for this break. How about it? It's the final break of Festival 85. We've been on the air for more than 2,000 minutes to give you the opportunity to make your pledge of support. That's 2,000 minutes of pledge breaks and much, much more of that of outstanding programs. The final break, we should have every phone ringing. We're looking for, it comes out to about 100 pledges for that $6,000. So let's go. Let's get those phones ringing. The final time, it's been a tremendously exciting drive. It's been one of the most successful in Georgia Public Television's history, and it's because of you. And you can make it go over the top. We want to be consistent. We want to hold the line, and we need to make up that extra $25,000 to make up for what we didn't make during Challenge 84. So let's go for it. Come on, go to your phone, give us a call, and don't forget the extra incentive that you have from the generous folks at Hayes Microcomputer Products, who are giving you that added incentive of doubling your pledge. So if you make your pledge of $120 or more, that will be the equivalent of $240. So go for it right now, the final time that we will be giving you the opportunity to support your favorite fine arts programming. So give us a call, let us know. And don't forget, if you work for a matching gifts company, they will double your pledge. And of course, your pledges trigger federal support. That is how they determine the special formula for giving us money from the federal government, which is dwindling all the time, is by the amount of pledges that we get. So give us a call right now. We're up to $1,225 on our way to $6,000. Let's get every operator busy for our final pledge. Go to your phone and give us a call right now. And Dick, you have something special to say?
Okay, Jonathan, this is the final night of Festival 85. Spent 17 glorious days of great programming, of great participation from our viewers, of tremendous volunteer help, both here in the studio, people who've provided, companies that provided refreshments for our staff working here at night, for the volunteers, all kinds of challenge grants, other kinds of corporate involvement. And our accountants tell us that we have made that, which tops us out. It doesn't show up here quite yet, but would top us out at $575,000. That's fantastic. We want to thank all of the people who participated, who've made this possible, the companies we mentioned earlier. You've heard credits all during Festival 85, but mostly we want to thank the fantastic people of Georgia they are the ones that have made Festival 85 a great success. Let's hear it for them, gang.